Namaste everybody and welcome to the beach. So today we're going to do our video 2 of our diaphragmatic breathing. This one we're going to get into some of the more usual yoga postures, kind of hitting some of our basic postures. It will be much slower and we will do it to kind of a count of breathing so that we can really see how diaphragmatic breathing and breathing in vinyasa postures actually works. It's going to be a really good builder into our heavier hitting flows like our Namaste Beaches flows and our Namaste Beasts flow. And so this is really a good baseline. If you've already done the previous diaphragmatic breathing one, it kind of gives you the introduction. If you haven't, check it on. We'll put the link down below. But we're going to get into our kind of our basic postures here. It's going to be much slower, like I said, just so that way we can really get into how the breathing works in postures. And you'll hear me kind of say breathe in, breathe out. I don't normally do that. I normally just breathe, but I'd rather you have the cues so that way you know when you're actually supposed to be breathing in and out. So we're going to meet in a seated posture on our mat. I'm going to be facing you. You can be at the top of your mat, wherever you're most comfortable. And we're going to get started into our flows and get really heavy into that diaphragmatic breathing. I'll pause the video a lot to really walk you through that breathing and have you be able to see the rib cage, your abs, your stomach, everything move, that cylinder move. So that way you can kind of really get into those postures. So we'll see you on the mat in seated posture, ready to get started. Wonderful. So once we're on the mat, you can sit in whichever posture is most comfortable for you. It really tends to be whether you are seated with your legs crossed or your legs out in front of you, whatever seems to be most comfortable for you. But what you really want is to have the freedom to start out to set our breath to. In some yoga practices, it's called setting our intentions. In Namaste Beaches, it's setting our breath, because my intention for all of postures, all of flows, is breath, because it is the life force, so to say. So anyway, so get into a seated position wherever you're most comfortable. If you prefer to start with a bolster as well, you can. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to get started with a seated posture. And we want to fill up from the base of our cylinder, which is almost into that pelvic floor, into our chest. Your eyes can be open or closed. And we're going to take a few breaths here as we set up the breath for the entire flow. So you can start out breathing in through your nose and mouth and out through your mouth, or all through your nose, all through your mouth, wherever you feel comfortable in that breath. So from here, we're going to take a big breath in, expand belly breath, and push everything out by really tightening that core. So big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. I know the video is kind of far away, but hopefully you can kind of see my stomach moving with that breath. There's very little movement in my shoulders, but there's still a little bit. So big breath in and out. In and out. Beautiful. Take 2 more on your own. Beautiful. And then we're going to go ahead and get into our cat-cow posture. So you're going to start into tabletop. Your toes can be curled or flat. And on our breath in, we're going to drop our stomach. This makes that diaphragmatic breathing a little bit harder, but that's okay, because what we want is to try and expand those tight muscles. So drop that stomach, lift the chest, and breathe in. And then we curl our spine and breathe out. And we're really crunching that stomach in. So breathe in, drop, and out, curl. And we're just going to go through a few of these. Breathing in, drop the stomach, out, round the spine. Beautiful. Do a few more. Beautiful. So that is another great way to get into your diaphragmatic breathing posture because you're actually getting movement to that breath. So we drop in, the stomach expands, and we push out, and we curl. And as you can tell, I'm going to pause out through the video, but when you breathe in, it expands that stomach, and when you breathe out, you're tightening. So it is a core work while you're breathing. When you breathe in, you're just pushing those stomach muscles out. But when you're breathing out, you're tightening the core, forcing the breath out. That's why you'll hear me take the dragon breath. Big breath. Is because it's pushing and it's building those cores. It's your basic six-pack ab workout. Very simple, very easy for everybody. So beautiful. So once we're into this nice tabletop, we've taken as many cat-cows as we want for that posture. We curl our back toes. We send our butt back for our first down dog. So in down dog, you want your head kind of laying easy. Your shoulders are engaged. Your hands are gripping. Your knees can be as bent as you want. And in fact, if you feel like you need a little biofeedback for how your stomach is working, if you bend your knees and just kind of have your stomach touch the top of your thigh, you breathe in and you can feel it hitting your thigh, and you breathe out. So take a few here. And that is a great core builder, but it also forces you to, I'm going to pause it again, to have a slightly different view of breathing. Technically, downward dog is an inversion. So inversions are headstand, handstand, those types of things. So a very basic inversion is down dog. I put a lot of people in down dog for diaphragmatic breathing as long as you don't get lightheaded, because now you're almost upside down and you have to, gravity is not helping you on this. You have to breathe in and out using your diaphragm, not gravity, as what normally kind of people, I mean, it's not normal, but you're working against gravity. So you really have to focus on that breath in and breath out while you're upside down. So anyway, so how we can get into a nice diaphragmatic breathing flow, we're going to be in down dog, take a big breath in, and on our out, when we crunch, we're going to step our right foot forward. So breath in and out, foot comes forward, lower that back knee, and we rise up into that low crescent lunge. Big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. So if we're trying to do a true vinyasa flow, our movement is to the breath. So down dog, you breathe in, exhale to crunch and really be able to pull that leg forward. We exhale and pull that leg forward. When we want to do it again, we breathe in and we come into, put our hands on the mat, we come into that low runner's lunge, and then we breathe in, step back for down dog, and out. We breathe in, prepare, out, left foot comes forward, and we rise up into that low crescent lunge. Now again, when we're in this posture, it puts everything in that core on stretch. So it's a little harder to get that breath, but breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And then exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale, back into down dog. Down dog, exhale. Beautiful. So we're going to come back into that down dog, but same idea. When we breathe in, we're, filling everything with air. When we breathe out, we're crunching. So breathe in and then crunch. Right foot comes forward. This time, keep the back knee off the mat and rise up into that high crescent lunge. And we breathe in and out. Now this changes the dynamics again, because now that back knee has to be engaged. Our bottom of our psoas, which does have some to do with our breathing, is now put on stretch. And our arms are engaged, so now the top of it is on stretch. So now you're forced to use just your diaphragm to breathe. And you will get, if you use only your stomach, you'll get a shorter breath. So you want to actually, true diaphragmatic breathing does take the whole cylinder, but for right now we're focusing on the stomach. But when you are doing this, a lot of people tend to want to just breathe through their chest because it's easier. But to really truly strengthen that diaphragm, while everything is on stretch, we want to breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And then we breathe in, exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale, down dog. Exhale, resting posture. Inhale, and then on our exhale, we crunch that left foot to the top of the mat. We rise up on our inhale, and then we stay into this high crescent lunge breathing, and we stretch out that other side. Beautiful. So again, the whole psoas now on the right is on stretch, and we're forced to use that diaphragm on the other side. Even though it's the whole diaphragm, we're stretching side to side. Inhale, exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale, down dog. Beautiful. Take a few breaths here. And then on our inhale, we're ground through our left foot. Exhale, we step that right foot between our hands. We rise up. Now turn that back arch, warrior one. So we're facing forward. So now we've integrated not just our psoas, but a little bit of our pelvic floor on this left leg because this hip is turned and it's a little different with that arch being involved. So now we're putting a few other muscles that are engaged and working through breathing. We're now turning them in a slightly different fashion and using our diaphragm again. So big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. We're going to open it up into warrior two. And all this does is now our chest is engaged. Now our psoas has a little bit of a break. We're not using it as much. So now when we're doing our diaphragmatic breathing, since our chest is already engaged with our arms being out, shoulder blades are, everything's active. When we breathe, we can't use our chest because it's engaged. So big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. And you get almost a little bit of movement in this kind of pelvic floor right here. And that really helps to, engage everything on that exhale. So that's why it is a core strengthener. While we're in this warrior two, you can have kind of lazy legs. You get into the real full expression. You're really hitting that pelvic floor all the way up. So that's why I really like this posture. Then we get into one where now we're kind of cutting off the core. We're going to reverse warrior. And when we do that, we're putting everything in a slightly different, like our QL is now going to be stretched and everything's slightly stretched. And now we're going to expand into our core, into our rib cage. So reverse warrior is left hand down the left leg and our right arm comes up. So now, and it might lose my breath while I'm walking through this, but as we breathe in, everything's taut from our whole side here. It takes another special part of that cylinder to now start working. So big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. And then we come back into warrior two. Big breath in. Exhale, we come into a high crescent or warrior one. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. And we're going to hit into plank pose. So hold plank pose and take a few diaphragmatic breaths in here. Beautiful. And send it back for down dog. And you can either stay in down dog or while I talk for a hot second, you can come into a nice tabletop position. But reason I like plank pose for diaphragmatic breathing is plank pose is a pure core strengthener. How do you breathe when your core is tight? Diaphragmatic breathing, everything is already tight. If you can use just your diaphragm, you're going to get an even more intense core strengthener because now your core is already engaged and you're breathing with your diaphragm. You're going to get that full 360 cylinder that's meant to be used for breath, and you will get, sometimes you even get a little lightheaded because you're like, wow, this is a whole workout here. So I really like plank pose because and it's hard to talk, breathe, and hold plank at the same time, but when you're in plank pose, everything's already engaged. A lot of people just want to hold their breath. If you can breathe, beautiful. While in plank pose, you are hitting the epitome of diaphragmatic strength training for your core. Your six-pack abs are on the way, my friend. So test it out. It's okay if it's a little difficult and you feel a little bit light of breathing, light, a little bit lightheaded. Come out of it quickly, but it is a great strengthener for everything. So anyway, so we're back into down dog. Now we're gonna switch sides. So on our breath in, ground through our right foot. Breath out, left foot steps forward. Turn that back arch, rise up into warrior one. Left leg forward, big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. Now we're going to open up warrior two. Now you can't see my stomach, because I'm turned away from the camera. But as you can see, a lot of my body is not fully moving. So you don't want a lot of that shoulder engagement when you're breathing. You want it to just come from your cylinder, your diaphragm of your core. So big breath in and out. Beautiful. Now we're going to reverse that warrior, and you can see that breath from the other side. So take a big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. Back into warrior two. Breath in, exhale, pop it forward. High crescent or warrior one, big breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank pose. Hold that plank. Big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Now on your exhale, lower down through chaturanga to your stomach or hold that hover chaturanga. And then you're gonna turn your toes and flip it up into up dog or cobra. Now in up dog, it's important to take a big breath in and send it back for down dog on your exhale. That's a great step for diaphragmatic breathing, core flow. Beautiful. So we got one more posture we're going to hit that's important for breathing. Ground through your left foot, take a big breath in. On your exhale, step your right foot forward. And we're going to first rise up, warrior one, open up warrior two, kind of a quick sequence. Extend that front knee, and we're going to come into triangle pose. So triangle pose is actually a core strengthener. Everybody thinks it's a hamstring stretcher. It is. But what we do with this is if we're truly in triangle pose, we're not really resting our hand on the ground. It's just kind of here. To get that full twist open, our belly button needs, and our pelvic floor is pulling up, and our belly button is contracting in. And so to get this full expression without needing to rest on the floor, to really get that full expression, you have to have a tight core. Now we try to breathe while we're twisted. Big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. One more. And then we come back up, warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, pop it forward. High crescent. Hands to the mat on your exhale. Plank pose. Take a breath in. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Beautiful. Inhale, ground through the right foot. Exhale, step that left foot forward. Open up first warrior one. Open up warrior two. And then we're going to, again, extend that front knee. And again, this is a core strengthener. So arms aren't touching the ground. You can kind of have them for a little extra twist on that leg for a twist. But we're engaging that belly button and we're breathing while we're twisted. Big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. Take one more. Rise back up, warrior two. Pop it forward, high crescent. And then this time on our exhale, just step forward for tall mountain. And this is another last really good kind of cool down between this and we'll hit Shavasana. But tall mountain, we have tall mountain arms up or regular mountain arms at our side. I'm going to face the camera. But this is now no stress on anything. So we've just worked our whole core with diaphragmatic breathing. So now just standing, we're just going to sit here and see if it's easier to breathe while standing. So take a big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Beautiful. And then our last posture is our Shavasana. So we're going to come ahead and have a nice laying down seat on the mat. Now, in traditional yoga, Shavasana is your resting posture, your meditation, the end of your flow. Me personally, what I use Shavasana for is to now reset my breath to no longer, deep diaphragmatic breathing during posture is a training exercise. We don't actually fully breathe that big all day. So once you're done with the flow you've worked out, you now want to set your breath back to neutral. And so all I do in my Shavasana while I meditate, pray, whatever it is that you choose to do, I also focus on just trying to get my breath back to normal, with it just breathing in and out. You still want your stomach to be the main breather, but you don't want that deep breath. You now want it to come back to neutral. It is no longer a movement pattern that we need to have. We just want a normal breath now. So in this Shavasana, I request that if you take it, you focus on your breath. You take it as long as you want. I sit in a hook lying position with my knees bent just because it makes my low back feel better. But you can take a full Shavasana and work on your breath. And we take as much time as we need. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, guys, for this diaphragmatic breathing flow. A little bit slower, a lot more explanations, but this is going to lead into our next one, our final one, which we kind of hit an actual flow. And you will hear me say breath in, movements, breath in, and you move through it. So you won't hear, it's going to be still slightly slower because it's really hard to breathe and talk and flow and do the yoga. So the video is a bit different, but this one is a really good workout. You should feel almost, sometimes you even get a little bit lightheaded, so slow it down, don't go too crazy there. But you should feel like your core is almost more tired than just doing pure, sit-ups and planks, because we have now worked your entire core cylinder with movement. And so this one, is really more of just continue to introduce it. This last video that we'll have coming here in the next several weeks will be our full-on vinyasa flow. But it'll still be a little bit slower because we're still going to work through our diaphragmatic breathing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you can run through this with the other one as kind of your rehabilitation program, however you see fit to do that. And hopefully you guys enjoyed and you're working towards your six-pack abs of diaphragmatic breathing power. So hopefully you guys enjoyed and appreciate you all joining us on the mat. We hope to see you here flowing with us again. And remember, namaste, beaches.